Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Anglicans. My name is Ayanna James, and today I am really thrilled to be talking to three representatives of the Northwest Regional Youth Council. They are Tishon Francis, Jason Busney, and Jasmine Kamabash. Welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me this afternoon.
No problem.
So I just want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourselves, talk about what parish you're in, what role you play on the Youth Council. So I'll start with Tishon.
You start with the person with the longest history. I say, well, currently I am the Northwest Regional Youth Council Secretary. So I would have started since 2015. So I was a secretary then. I left because I went away to study. I came back and I took up the position again as secretary. So that's my current role on the council itself. Something else about me. I was a member of the parish of St. Matthias, specifically at the Church of Epiphany in Mova. So I was a youth rep on the vestry there. I played the drums there. I was a server as well. Whew. Yeah. I was
involved.
Yeah. Currently now I am at the Holy Trinity Cathedral, where on the vestry at the cathedral. I'm currently the synod rep for this year. I'm a Northwest Regional Council itself. I'm a lead minister in training. I also do and well by default kind of the head of the AV multimedia in the cathedral. And I basically do anything that anyone asks me to do. I'm there to help. So outside of church, when most people see me, they know me from TAGS, Church or Generation, School of the Arts. So people automatically think the music teacher, the music girl. What people don't know is that I do have a master's degree in applied child psychology, and my field of study that I want to go further into is psychology and not music. Music is something I do just as a hobby, and I like doing it because I like working with children. Yeah, I guess if I stay any longer, I might have longer set of things to say. I mean,
Wow, you are a very active member. That's really, really good to hear. So let's go on to Jason.
Okay, so well, as I would have mentioned to you guys a little off here, little awkward for me because I guess I'm one of the newest members of the Northwest Regional Youth Council, but I'm also not a lifelong Anglican. So I've even though I've had a lot of interaction with the Anglican Church from my younger days, like primary school and stuff, I attended Richmond Street Boys Anglican. And then a little later on in life, well, I worked with a certain presenter here in
Yes.
East and Bishop Sands East. But I only recently rejoined that steady Anglican community when I got married to my lovely wife, Keisha. So I've been a part of the Anglican body, let's say, anew since 2017. I've been a member of the Regional Youth Council, Northwest Regional Youth Council since 2019. And currently the youth coordinator for my parish, which is St. Crispin's, as well as a member of the youth council. Hobbies, I don't really have that many hobbies because of work. I work as a freelance translator for the past close to 10 years now. So I guess a lot of my hobbies like work. And I guess
hobby.
church activities, I guess, would be my hobby. But otherwise, I listen to a lot of podcasts and audiobooks. So yeah.
I mean, you're very fluent in French.
Right. Okay,
so
highlight
that.
Yes,
right?
I did live and study in France for about 8 years. So I did my bachelor's degree and master's degree in France, which is how I ended up in my current field of study.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then we are on to Jasmine.
Okay, so I'm the youngest in the group, and I've been a part of the council since 2015 as well. I'm 20 years old, and I attend St. Michael and All Angels Anglican Church in Diego Martin. I'm the head server there, and I'm also a part of the youth group and the council that they have in that church. I'm a part of that. In terms of hobbies, I don't really have any hobbies. I like to swim and I like to do water polo and I like to read. And mainly, church has taken apart a lot of my time. So that's basically it. And I'm gonna go to Jamaica to study medicine come August. So
Fantastic.
That's
So I would like to learn about the Northwest Regional Youth Council. I mean, I used to worship at St. Michael's and All Angels a million years ago. So, technically I am part of this region, although, I live in Arima. So, I like to find out the, some information about this youth council. So, Tishon, I don't know if you could help us with that.
I could, but before I start, you see the technicalities. You have to be a registered member of a church in the Northwest region. If you leave, but you come your bus. Registration.
St. Michael's will be in my heart always.
I mean, it's the best region, so
But the council itself, well, I'll start with the current council. We began in 2015. We had a retreat in Chapel of Ease. That was in January 2015, and that's where this new council was formed. But before this council, there was a Northwest Regional Youth Council before, but well, that was when I was growing up. But for a couple of years, they were on hiatus. So in 2015, we restarted the Northwest Council. That's where we had our regional youth coordinator, Ms. Shanice Lutrin, as well as our adult nurturer, Ms. Anne-Marie also. We met at, well, each parish sent two youth representatives from their parish to the retreat. And at that retreat, we got together, we talked about all the things we wanted to do, and we formed the Northwest Regional Youth Council. Since then, we have been working to rebuild the pride and brand that is the Northwest. Yep. Because we were and will forever be the most exciting and active region in the whole of the Anglican Diocese in Trinidad. Right. So when we started off, we were rather shaky.
Very shaky. Very shaky.
In 2015, I'm just going to show you there's the jersey from the first.
Wow, but that's really nice.
Northwest Army for Christ by our lovely. It was done by Gregory Robinson. His soul rest in peace. He was always there working with us as well. Yeah. We came dead last.
Yeah.
We came dead last. Dead last in marching and the overall sports. I mean, it was a fun day, but I think since then, realizing that this is where we were when we started, we actually ramped up ourselves and started becoming more active and getting towards taking over the sports day from the year after. So I remember in 2016, I believe it was a couple of I believe it was Shanice and Megan, correct me if I'm wrong, Jasmine, that went to provincial youth gathering in Grenada.
Yeah. And Cimarel.
And Cimarel as well. And those were active members of our youth council. So they would have gone there and brought back some information, and from then, we kept on working. We've had youth services every year. We throw our youth service. We've had it at the cathedral. We've had one at St. Crispin's. We've had one at
St. Michael's.
We've also had one at, I believe, it wasn't St. Matthias, I'm not sure. There was a church we had a youth service. Oh, St. Agnes. Yeah. That was streamed online because that was last year with the COVID. So we've had youth services, like I said, every year, and we've shown fundraisers. We've had online sessions as well, not just from now, well, mainly because of COVID from 2020. We've had some online sessions. We've had conflict resolution. We've done types of domestic violence. We've done financial awareness.
We're not just covering, church-related topics. We're covering a broad spectrum of things to target a large audience. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And because what people don't realize is that the council is not just there to be there, a bunch of youths just working together. It's a bunch of youths working together for a purpose. We're there to educate the youths. We're there to work with educating them as well as spreading awareness and building a little more, socially aware young persons and giving them the space they need as well. I mean, this year we had our first event, and that was the mental health awareness session, which I think a lot of people needed, especially with this COVID. One of the things we have spoken about doing again is another session on it, but perhaps on burnout and stress, because I know a lot of persons may be feeling like that right now with this constant online, with his classes or be online for everything. So and we are also going to have our youth services here. Seeing how COVID going, we do have to decide if we're going to do a full stream of the service online.
Wow, so, I'm really glad. I'm glad to hear that you're having a follow-up on the mental health session because, I was there for that session and I really liked how your presenter really was very comprehensive in the ways in which, mental health issues present and ways in which, family and friends could assist. So I thought that session was really invaluable. And I'm glad to hear that there would be more sessions on that and that you're continuing with your with youth service. So I really want to commend you for really, sticking through in these, unprecedented times. What is the support like from the clergy in the region? You all get support, the support that you need?
In what aspect? Exactly?
In terms of advice, in terms of helping you organize the sessions, planning, anything.
Tisha?
It's like I get that question. Tell me back. From a personal experience, I tell people I go to the dean whenever I need advice. I go to her for advice. But in particular with this mental health session, I worked at the mental health unit in Spain. So I'm aware, and because of my field of study, so I do have access to resources. So I would have contacted someone I knew and who still works at the mental health unit and gotten some information on the organizations that are available out there that are doing a lot of online sessions. So, but in terms of your question, if we get support, I mean, for instance, our adult nurture, I mean, once we have letters and stuff to go, I do send it to her. She goes through it. She gives me any tips. I mean, Jason or Jasmine could speak as well to if they know any of the exploration. Jason,
I think we do get support. I feel like if once you have a priest or clergy persons that are willing and very active in terms of youth involvement, then you will get that push that you need in order to get the activities running and going and getting advice and ways to move forward. If you don't have that, well, then, things will be harder. But in my opinion, I think we have it to an extent, I mean, it could be better, but we have it. And clergy persons are working and trying their hardest to be involved in youth ministry and youth involved activities. So, yeah.
I would say half an hour. Because, like I said, I was at one parish before and I'm at another one now. So, I have experienced a lot of different aspects of different clergy. And I like I said, it's half an hour. There are some who do and there are some who don't. Yeah. And for those who do, they are really headstrong, full force. Yeah. They're willing to give you advice. They're very easy to speak to. And they never treat you like, you're supposed to know something. They are very willing to explain something because when you come to them for advice, they know it's because you don't know. So I would say half and half. We have a lot of clergy in the Northwest. Well, from me in the Northwest region, you can go to and talk, and they're very willing and very nice to speak with you and explain to you.
Agreed.
Nice.
Yeah, especially I just like to give a shout out to Father Gomez because I think I just have to say I think he's very, very youth centered. Like you could go to him and give him your advice or like tell him what you would like to see being done, and of course within the guidance of the bishop and the rules of the church, he would find a way to make certain things happen. To find a way to involve the youth to make them feel as much a part of the church as everyone else, and I appreciate him for that. So once you have a strong clergy to back you, then you skyrocket.
Fully agree. Also, teach young persons to become leaders, because we don't want to just be blind, absent-minded members of the party. We want them to be leaders, because they will eventually be the future of the church.
True.
They was coming after. Does it?
All right. Well, what I want to do today is to really jump in on some issues concerning young people in the diocese and ways in which, us as lay people, clergy, can get together to really help. What does it feel of our young people now in the Anglican Church? We are not, there's a limitation to the amount of people that can come to church now, the length of the service and so forth. What is happening with young people now? How are they feeling about church services? Is it different from before? Is it the same? Is it worse? What's happening on that front?
I don't like. I feel a little awkward being asked to give the young people like perspective. I don't know if it's because my wife cut out my gray hairs before. But I mean, I think I'm not sure. I hope that I try to put myself in the perspective of young people, what they feel, how I would have felt at that age and that time. But again, like I don't think that I am the best example of what a young person who is not attending church, what they feel, because that was not my personal experience. What I do think, though, my personal opinion is that really and truly this pandemic, it has kind of made a situation that was already existing a lot more stark. And by that I mean, I think that a lot of people, young people, like their attachment to church, the whole idea of church, getting to know the Lord, getting to like deepen themselves in the knowledge of the Lord, like that whole ideology has changed, I think, from generation to generation. And whereas in previous generations, I think that young people would have grown up almost feeling as though church, whether it's Roman Catholic, whether it's Anglican or otherwise, they would have felt as though that was almost like a necessity, like, hey, I have to go to church. Whether it's that my mommy or my daddy or my granny carrying me and I have to go, like, after a while, that sort of thinking would have been ingrained in them. Whereas I think nowadays, the perception is different. Like, church is not a necessity, more as a optional activity. And if something is an optional activity, if something is not mandatory, then your dedication to it, or the feeling that you have to be there, you have to go and learn and find out more, then that gets like changed. So for me, what happened with the pandemic is that even before the pandemic, there was already a lack of enthusiasm, a lack of willingness, a lack of feeling as though I have to do this, I have to be there. And so the pandemic kind of offered a convenient reason to
agreed.
COVID protocol.
Agreed.
But really, I didn't want to go, but because it have less people, I don't want to get my granny sick.
Yeah.
It given as though it's given a convenient excuse.
Yeah, it's an excuse. Because before COVID, it would have been probably your parents telling you, get up and go to church, you have to go to church. But now that COVID is here, you could say, oh, well, I don't want to get so-and-so sick. I don't want to be the reason why so-and-so end up in the hospital. And then your parents might just be like, okay, that's it sounds like a valid reason, And then they just ease their way out of not going to church. But they could go anywhere else and COVID wouldn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Just with church, it's different. And why is that, Yeah. And that has to do with what Jason was saying with the zeal and the motivation and the interest that they have to have or show the young people in order for them to be like, I want to come to church. I want to be a part of this community,
My thing is that, we're saying people using COVID, well, the young persons may be using COVID or to say, they want to get granny sick, COVID around. But my thing is, okay, you're not seeing much young persons active now as COVID, but you weren't seeing much before as well.
Yeah.
You were in the same places you're seeing now, you're seeing the same places before. And I think COVID just opened our eyes to make us, force us now to look and see that, hey, there is a problem. And there always has been. The lack of youth involvement or the staggered youth involvement has always been something that existed. And the question is, what's really not bringing them, but what has been happening over the past years to bring it to this point. I mean, you hear young people saying, sometimes it's boring or it's the same thing over and over again. Or sometimes you would hear young people saying, I have actually spoken to a couple of young people and they would say, sometimes with church, all they could do, but young people are just not interested. So you ask yourself, why? Why are they not interested? What is the problem?
Yeah.
And I mean, you could come up with 1,000,001 ideas and you could probably talk to them too as well. But sometimes I wonder if they actually understand and know what church is, or even just know what Anglicanism is. Because, Jason, I see that face.
Sorry.
No problem. And I'm not saying as in telling them what church is, but I'm like developing in themselves their own understanding and concept of it and being guided to find that. Because everyone can have their own concept and understand and knowledge of church, as well as what is this being Anglican, what is to be an Anglican church, what is to be in a Roman Catholic church, what I just turn out, what is to be religion there. And my thing is that how much are they learning? How much are we teaching them? How much are we mentoring them? How much of it is more than just mommy, granny, auntie, tanty, nene, and tell me come to church. And I come to church because I want to learn this. I want to learn. I mean, I grew up in Sunday school. Sunday school was the most fun time. You get to draw pictures and stuff, and you learn all kind of stuff, and you learn stuff. So it would have made things exciting. I had this in Sunday school for a couple of years in where I was before. And it's not to say there's a lack of trying. There has been a want to continue the Sunday school, but persons are getting a little older. You need a little more volunteers to come and help out with the situation as well, to teach it. You need the parents as well to be active enough to want to stay in church a little bit after. You need service to start on time too, because sometimes it starts late. Sometimes it starts late, you gotta be honest. It does start late, right? You gotta be honest. So all those factors, and I mean, I think we really need to stop and evaluate the situation.
Yeah.
And start working on what we can do. Because we can sit down and come with a lot of ideas, but if we don't sit down, evaluate, work through it, and then start doing something physically, then we come back here and ask any question with the youths.
Yeah. Yeah, but okay, well, Jasmine, let me ask you, because you're the youngest one in this group here. What has worked for you to stay in church? Was it that mommy, daddy scenario, or were you self-motivated? You're a server. You gotta get up early in the morning to get ready for service and so forth. So what was it for you? What worked for you?
I think at first it was the mommy tell you to go to church, but then after I found it within myself that I wanted to be a part of this community, and that was the driving force. And then of course with the motivation of everyone around me, it pushed me even harder, and that's why I stuck to it. And my personal opinion, I don't think no matter what the church does, it would not be able to bring young people to church if that young person does not want to do it themselves. You know what I mean? If they don't want to have this relationship with God, or if they don't want to at least experience it, nobody could do it for them. I can do it, their mother can do it, their father can do it. We could push them and motivate them, but if they themselves don't want that, then it's not going to happen. You know? Jason?
Disagree.
Say what you have to say.
All right, so I have a personal experience that I could share. I was about, let's say, about Form 3, Form 4. So that'll be around 14, 15, 16. Right? Jasmine, let me check with our current young person. Like for your regular school week, right? Monday to Sunday. If we divide that school week into morning and evening, so 14 sessions, Monday morning, Monday evening, Tuesday morning, Tuesday evening. What would you think is your or young people's favorite time of the week?
The evening.
Which evening in particular?
The Friday evening.
Friday evening, great, right? So we're on the same page, right? So 14, 15, Friday evening, nice prime time. Me and other schoolmates, what we would do is we would go to YMCA and play basketball or football or whatever. And 1 week or a few weeks, a couple of guys who weren't from our school group, a little older than us, started to come and play basketball, and they really integrated themselves like with the group of us, right? And as I said, I am the practicing Roman Catholic at that time, but a lot of my other classmates have little to nothing to do with church. But we getting to know these people, they seem really nice and whatnot, cool. And then all of a sudden one week they're like, we go to this church called the Church of Christ. And every Friday evening, we're looking to start something called a youth session. I can't remember what they called it, whatever. And they having that at the YWCA. And they say, right, you're gonna be having this thing where nothing to do with church, no church related anything, but like football one week or basketball one week or singing or dancing, like things that would encourage the youth. They like, and they would like, would you guys be interested in coming? So like, all right, cool, Friday evening, prime time. We will go in there for like weeks on end. We go into the YWCA with a bunch of other youths, again, from all religious denominations. A lot of them, I would imagine, not even going to church. And again, they would, nothing to do with church. They might just have a little prayer in the beginning of the session or whatever, a little prayer in the end. They might have a little motivational talk or something like that so often, but really and truly geared toward us. By the end of that, they were starting to invite us to their church on Sunday. And some of these same people who are telling us not church people were like, sure. So like that personal experience that I saw for myself is why I think that is incumbent upon the church to an extent to reach out, because some of the young people, I'm saying us, some of the young people can be reached. It's just a matter of taking that time and that effort to meet them on their turf, so to speak.
And I agree 100% with that. Like, we have to reach out to them. It's our responsibility to reach out to the youth and make them feel involved and welcome. I agree fully. But I also think that if somebody doesn't want something for themselves, then you could never make that person want it, no matter how hard you try. I hope that makes sense, because
yeah, I understand what
it's like somebody.
All people do. Sometimes you don't know what you want.
Exactly.
You know what you want.
And I think so. For example, if I like chocolate and I want somebody else to try chocolate, I'm telling you, it's the best chocolate in the world. No matter what I do, it's if they don't like chocolate, then I can't really force them. It's a bad example, but I hope.
No, but like let's stick with that though. Like you're talking about chocolate, but if this person never experienced chocolate, or what people tell them, hey boy, chocolate real bad, don't have nothing to do with that. Like, is that you really know and you don't know? So you as a person who do know chocolate, you might have to kind of infiltrate a little bit at first to kind of, get them, warm them up to the idea that, hey, this thing really might be worthwhile and something good. But it's a case of, like, if I just come to you and like, hey, here, look, chocolate, take it. Like, what would the...
Yeah.
And that's an interesting point that both you and Jason made with the whole welcoming and the pushing chocolate in their face. I mean, that doesn't seem welcoming. And I think the whole reason why Jason experienced worked with some of the young men there is because they feel welcome and invited, and they felt safe enough to go. You actually do hear some young people saying they don't feel safe when they go to church. Sometimes they might get a bad look, or they might be spoken to in a way like, instead of some people don't actually speak with young people, they speak right into them, they speak at them. And they may be very rough. And sometimes all those comments, you may think it's it's fun, but sometimes young people get taken aback by some of those things.
Yeah.
And I think it's how we approach young people as well. It really, because from my personal experience, the parish I was at before, I would always love it, and I would always go back there on and off to help because I was welcome. I grew up there, baptized there. I wasn't going for them there, but I was baptized there. And my experience with all the, I would say, quote unquote, older persons in the parish, I talk to them normal. Everybody in church is my auntie and uncle, because that's how I grew up. And they were always there. I could have, if I come to church and I look sad and I feel to cry, somebody pull me aside and ask me, what's going on? Are you okay? What happened? and they would give me advice, and I could cry and feel open enough to express myself and all my emotions, and come from church feeling like, you know, what I was feeling before, I no longer feel anymore. And I think that's something that, and I was experiencing in where I am right now as well. And I think that's something that needs to be consistent across all churches, that welcoming feeling, that feeling of, you know, this is
inclusion,
home away from home. This is where I can say, yeah, like the sense of inclusion, I feel a part of this. So, I mean, motivation is one thing, but I think at the end of the day, intrinsic emotion has its place. But if there's something that's inviting me, I can develop that motivation to go.
Correct.
And if something isn't inviting, of course not. No matter how we telling me, come on, go to church. If I know when I put in that door, only 10 eyes in the front were looking back at me, I'm not going to church.
Yeah.
That's just to say it.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
like,
for real, it happens in places.
let's be real. Who really start off like 4 years old, 5 years old? Hey, let me go to church. Like,
yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's when, because your parents got you to church.
Yeah.
And it's what you experience when you get into church makes you come back. It's going to keep making you go back.
Correct.
Because at the end of the day, the feeling you have in your chest, the love that you feel, that is going to drive you back into church. And it's going, whether it's, and I'm saying this across the board, whatever religion it is, it's going to drive you. Yep. I think as an African, we need to come and develop that welcome, because not all the times we are welcoming.
True.
You know, you just get it.
You know, such valid points being shared here. So if I could just summarize what we're seeing, of course, we're talking about a welcoming spirit. And I mean, this is something that is spoken about all the time. I mean, you know, certain people have the seat. So if you sit down in the seat, well, no, that's in COVID now, but you know before, if you sit down in the seat, you get a bad eye, right?
Yeah.
People have their seats, right? So there's that whole welcoming aspect that we want to talk about. Jason, you know, you would have spoken about taking that time to really develop a relationship and rapport with our young people. You know, really get to know them and ways in which we could reach and interest them. And Jasmine, you spoke about, and I think this is valid as well, your desire to get to know God, your desire to that self-motivation to say, okay, I want to learn about Jesus. I want to develop this relationship with God. So really just valid points all around, you know. But I mean, in this COVID time, how can we develop these points in terms of being welcoming, in terms of developing that rapport, in terms of developing that self-motivation where they're not coming in that physical space? Any ideas on how we could work on that?
Tish?
We need to use we need to use the resources that we have available to us in order to seek out the answers and the results that we want. So just like how we can meet here on Zoom, you know, it's not in person, which is completely different. Like in person is different to on Zoom, but at least it's still some sense of belonging, or at least I can have communication with you all on a platform, you know. And I think once we use that, we'll be able to move forward with the new normal that we have. And we can still have that goal. So like how you were talking about, you know, the connection, how it wasn't there before COVID, how we're going to get it now. You know, if you have an adult nurturer in your parish, you know, you could take small steps, as in the adult nurturer could call, you know, just to say, I'm just checking up on you to see how you're doing. Doesn't have to talk about church or anything like that. Just say, you know, I'm just checking up. I want to see if you're okay. And then from there, once you keep doing that, that could lead to a relationship being built. And once this whole COVID thing settles down, which, you know, probably may or may not happen, then you'll see the change. You'll see the change taking place, you know. You have to start somewhere. And once we start, then the ball will keep rolling. You know, we can't just, our issue is just sitting down and coming up with these ideas and not actually doing it. You know, we just say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we don't start. And if you don't start, then you're never going to see the results. You know, we can't just keep complaining and not do. Yeah.
So does it make a valid point? I noticed this is I don't know what those little sayings they used to do before. A bunch of cats had a council, a bunch of mice had a council because this had this miserable cat. And then they decide they're going to put a bell around the cat neck. But you know, when they're done decide, they're going to put a bell. Nobody want to put the bell on the cat neck, right? It's the same situation.
Never heard it, but...
I just be reading all them children. I have a little baby in my house. So. The thing is that we're going to sit down, we're going to come up with all these ideas. Who's going to implement it? When is it going to implement it? And when it's implemented, who's going to stick with it? How are we going to stick with it?
Yeah.
I mean, are we going to just continue the same thing over and over and because we decide this is what we're doing now and not reevaluate it later on and make the necessary change?
That is it.
Yeah.
And I think you can't stick the same thing over and over. Yeah. We live in the most beautiful time in this world where you have a lot of tradition that you can incorporate and a lot of new innovations that are coming. We are stuck in COVID for a couple of months again. I say pray God next year 2022, let me just open up the country, I'm praying for that. But we live in an age where we have access to technology, access to learn stuff, and make use of it. And not just make use of it so that we can continue showing the services, make use of it and reinvent something, create something. Yeah. I mean, do something that's a little bit different. And just talk to just talk to young people, I mean, talk to persons I would say friends. I have friends who are 13, 12, and I'm 27. I have friends who are those age, and they can message me and talk to me, and I talk to them normal, like how are they going? I was up, normal, like you speak with them on their level, and I think that's how you develop a relationship with any any person in the whole. You get on their level, you talk to them where they are at, because you can't expect them to get to where they're at if you're not willing to get down where they're at and work with them to get there.
Agreed.
So my thing is that we can start, we can work. Start, and when we start, are we going to continue? And when we continue, are we going to evaluate? Are we going to change things? What are we going to do? And that's the thing. Because they can't stay with the same thing over and over again, I mean, tradition is important. Keep tradition, teach tradition, but it's how you teach it and how you incorporate it as time change.
Yeah. And I think that's what we are afraid of. I think a lot of us are afraid of change. And I think we're comfortable where we are. So we know there's an issue, and we know, the youth they're not coming to church. But I don't really want to do anything about it. I don't really want to be the one to come up with these ideas and actually implement these ideas. I'm okay with where we are right now. But where we are right now is going to be the death of the church, because we're the young people in the church.
Yeah, that's a big issue. And I love to show that you said evaluate, because I think that's an aspect sometimes in projects that we undertake in church. Is like, we get the big idea, we start, and hold on a second.
Yeah, I think it's
right. So to show on your point about evaluating projects, I think that is so valid, because we start projects, we do them, and I don't think we ever look and see, okay, hey, how are we going? Do we need to change anything? Do we need to switch directions? Do we need to include somebody, So that is such a valid point in terms of evaluation. So I really hope that, moving forward with any kind of project, that is part of the project evaluated. But I don't want to say I want to pick on you, Tishon, but I really want to find out from you. I mean, you recently, spoken word, right? You started the Lenten Caravan with your spoken word piece, right? And for me, what was fantastic was that you were doing this modern art form in the backdrop of the cathedral, which is almost 200 years old. So I found that was so fabulous, and I'm glad that you did that. One of the things that the next question I was going to ask you with regards to spoken word in our regular Eucharistic service. I mean, I'm thinking of, can we rewrite the Lord's Prayer as a spoken word, the Apostles' Creed, instead of using the traditional way, can we rewrite it, and in having a place in our service?
I mean, I will have to seek guidance on that too. I want to say,
that just came to my guidance.
I mean, those are relevant discussions to have, though. Like, I think that's the church having its mind in the right place. Like, how do we resonate with a younger generation of people that seem to not necessarily be interested in the traditional way that we are doing things. Yes, tradition is important. Yes, tradition has its place.
It is.
But if there's some way to maintain tradition, which is the text or whatever it is, but present it in a new way, like Tishon spoken word. You were there, Ayanna?
I watched it. I watched it online.
I was there in person, right? And I had no idea that was coming. And like, if you watch the video, well, if you listen to the video, after Tish finished, you just hearing somebody clapping real loud.
It was Jason.
I was like, yo!
I was blown away too as well. I mean, I was like, this is what we're talking about. This is where we want the church to go. And I mean, again, I want to talk about, music. I mean, the pipe organ is lovely in the cathedral, but I mean, and again, we're talking about tradition, and I know a complaint is music as well. Music, boring, and that is not appealing to the young people. But I mean, it's part of the service. So how can we keep our traditional songs, but then make it palatable to the young people? I mean, I think that's an age-old question we've been struggling with for a while.
I think we all agreed that it's about the musician, the person who's playing the music and the delivery of the music. Because you can have the same songs, but it's just the way the person's playing the music. They could play it so lively and hype up the whole church compared to somebody who's gonna play the song so slow and take their time. It's just different. It's all about the delivery. I mean, but you could still incorporate certain things like different instruments, like the drums or the guitar or the pan. It doesn't just have to be the organ.
I might go even further though, like again, like trying to modernize. Why not do some of these same hymns, same words, everything? Or like pour a soca beat or something.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, exactly.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yes.
I agree with that.
I went to
can this be a project though? Can this be a Northwest Regional Youth Council project where we encourage the musicians in our diocese to take a hymn, like when I survey that wondrous cross. I mean, but maybe not for left, but maybe for ordinary time. A hymn that's real slow, real boring, and can they adapt it, change it, remix it?
Because this is a great idea. Like, I'm listening to you all and I'm like, this is a great idea. And at my age, I would most definitely invite my friends if we do this.
Yeah, I think so.
I wonder if the general sentiment it would be that that's disrespecting tradition though.
Jason, I like how you bring that because I was just gonna explain something that happened to me with this. So most people know that I do pan, right? So I teach pan. So whenever we have tags itself, every year we have our anniversary service in the cathedral. And I remember one year, now I'm that person, I will take a dead song and make it a beat. Yeah. Sometimes exactly. I will take a song in 3-4 times and I make it the 4 time and just so that have a sexy beat to it. And I remember one year I took the song How Great Thou Art. You know how slow that song is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I jazzed up that song and it was so
nice.
It had a nice, sexy bass line to it. Yeah, I had to redo it again. And I remember that specific year, I asked my friend to do it in church with me because I was late to the service. So I asked my friend if she could take my class and count them and let them play because they know the timing. And I'm not gonna call the clergy name, but they stopped the playing and made them play slow. And my thing is that it can't happen.
Wait, I think I remember this.
Well, you see, again, that's why I asked the question about the support of clergy, because
I think when you see somebody in services, it's the same service, just the youth reading or they do it.
Yeah.
And I don't think somebody youths, and actually the Dean points out to me that they don't realize that they can actually do so many different things to that service. Because if you look through the book of common prayer, there's so many things you can leave out or even adjust or change or even adapt and do. And you can make the service as lively as you want it to be. But I think it also comes with a little bit of guidance and letting them know, hey, this could happen, so no.
Yeah,
and
the lack of knowledge.
Yeah, and then being open and willing to come to the front and say, hey, well, not hey, but Rev, this is what. No, that's how I don't speak to. That's because I have a relationship. But come on, you say, Rev, I have an idea. This is what I want to do for youth service. They throw it up to them, and more than likely they're going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
But we also have to be one consistent in doing it, and two, come service whether it's Sunday morning, Saturday, and be willing to go through it. If you had to practice before, do the practice. You had to practice before, and do this because Jason, that Saturday, every Saturday, do not library service. That comes with practice, you know. You have to have a bunch of youths and even young adults or even adult nurturers and persons in the church working and consistently practicing and developing that way. We can move from having a Vibes Youth Sunday once a month to Vibes Youth service every Saturday, where the service is cut down probably to 45 minutes, and you have your one reading, you have your ministry of the word itself, you have your explanation of the word, and you have a whole praise and worship session before and after. Or you could run a whole morning prayer service, evening prayer service, however it is you want. But you have to be understand what the book is about, and just go through it, make the adjustments, make the changes, talk to your priest. You know, they will guide you. This is me believing that they will, because from my experience, my priest is guiding me. And you know, be consistent, be willing to work, because whoever's going to start it, they are going to get opposition. They're going to have some hard time getting the person to be involved and to stick with it, because we are at a time where there are so many different things that are grabbing the young persons, but they are still willing and still wanting to be in church. You know, you just have to be able to, you know, get to them, talk to them, bring them in, and really work. And I think nothing is impossible. I think it just takes work, and once we ain't afraid to work, you get it. And I think that's the issue for people.
Jason, Jasmine, and Tishon, I just want to say thank you so very much for spending this time with me, you know, us ventilating some issues regarding young people in the diocese and other issues as well. And I want to wish the Northwest Regional Youth Council all the best in all their endeavors, and I will look forward to all the projects that you all have in the future. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Okay, everyone, be safe. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well.